Pronunciation. Pronunciation is difficult, of course. And, obviously we do practice pronunciation in classes with reading the skit. I think that's a pretty good way that helps a lot of students. But there are some alternative ways as well, some ways you maybe haven't considered before, or maybe you don't want to consider, but maybe you should. So one thing you could do is record yourself. So recording yourself is quite an uncomfortable experience. To be honest, I feel a little bit nervous recording myself right now. But, after a while you get used to it. I do feel nervous now, but not as nervous as I used to when I recorded myself. So, obviously it's going to feel very uncomfortable at first, but don't worry about it too much. You'll get used to it. And, in your case, you're probably the only person that's going to see it. So, you don't have to really worry about other people seeing it that much if you're just recording for your private studies. After you get used to anything, it becomes a lot easier, right? So, don't just use audio. Make sure to use the video as well, because it's important to see the way you speak, the way your mouth is moving, the way your tongue is moving. That's very important for getting the L's and the R's right, as you maybe know. But, if you can see yourself doing it, you can maybe see where you're going wrong, and you can hear it. You don't have to have somebody tell you what you're doing right or wrong. You can see for yourself. So I think that's very important. And maybe you're wondering, what should I record myself doing? So I'd recommend, using some kind of passage or excerpt. And what do we mean by this? So a passage or an excerpt is kind of like a piece of text or a recording taken from somewhere else. So, maybe you could use a part of a podcast. Sometimes podcasts, the uploaders or the people that host the podcast, they will post certain clips, certain highlights of their podcast. So maybe you can find a short clip like that, or maybe you can use a scene from a movie, or perhaps a page or two from a novel. And just kind of record yourself, reading those words. And, if you can compare that to somebody else reading it, someone who is a native speaker preferably, then that's really going to help you to kind of see how you sound and how you maybe should sound. That's something that would definitely be good. You want to make sure that you ask yourself questions afterwards as well. So, like I said, you want to make sure that your mouth is moving in the right way. You want to make sure that your tongue is moving up or down when it needs to. And you also want to make sure you're stressing the right parts as well. So, if you can have like some kind of video clip or movie clip that you can compare it to, that's really going to kind of help you quite a lot, I think. So, even though this is something that's going to be uncomfortable, maybe you don't like the sound of your own voice. I don't like the sound of my own voice. But, if once you get comfortable with it, you get used to it, and, it won't become such a problem. You won't even worry about it anymore. So don't let you from stopping this. I think this would be a great way that you could try to improve your English. But that's about everything I wanted to say for this slide. So let's have a look at the next one. This is the final one pretty much. This one is final but very important. So setting goals. Whenever you want to achieve something, goals are pretty important, right? So try to set goals with your English. If it's just a hobby for you, okay, maybe you don't need to set goals, but even if it's a hobby, setting goals can still help you to improve with the hobby. So, you want to try and have short-term goals and long-term goals. When thinking about your long-term goal, what is it you want to achieve with your English? Do you want to become highly fluent? Do you want to just be able to have conversations with people? Do you want to feel comfortable using it in the workplace? Try and think about what your long-term goal is. Think about what you're good at already, and think about what you need to improve. Some students are very strong in all areas except for maybe one. Some students I know, they're amazing at speaking English, but then like their tense, for example, is a bit of a weak area. So find your weak area, or weak aspects, and focus on that for your long-term goal. And then to achieve the long-term goal, try and have short-term goals that can help you get there. And this way it's going to feel less daunting. If you just have one long-term goal and that's all you think about, it's going to take a long time to achieve it. It's not going to be easy, and it might make you give up if you're just thinking about one goal. So try to have short goals as, once again, a starting point, and use them along the way. Pretty much, you need to work towards it. Learning English is not easy, as you know, and mastering it is even more difficult, especially for any kind of English speaker. Even a native speaker has a difficult trip, in order to master English. So yeah, try to just give you the goals, and that will kind of help you along the way. Also, what would be good with the short-term goals is to try and reward yourself. So it's up to you what kind of rewards you have. But let's say you have a short-term goal, like to learn 5 new words each day to improve your vocabulary. Try and have some kind of rewards that makes it worth it, makes it feel like you're accomplishing it along the way. So what could the reward be? Well, it depends. Maybe you like sweets, but maybe that's not a healthy reward. But as long as you don't reward yourself too much, I guess, then maybe something like sweets would be okay. Maybe having a bit of relaxation afterwards, a bit of a sit down, and a cup of coffee. That could also be another good kind of short reward. And just try to make sure that you're not being too hard on yourself. I've definitely known a student or two that are way too hard on themselves, and if they stop being so hard on themselves, stopped trying to set unrealistic expectations, they would feel a lot calmer, a lot less nervous, and they would improve dramatically just by changing how they think about studying English. So that's definitely important. Of course, have ambition, but don't be too unrealistic. You have to be realistic because it's a very long process. But yeah, that's about it for the final slide. We do have one more slide, but it's kind of a thank you for watching slide, and there's a couple of things I do want to talk about here. So we've kind of talked about how English can be difficult. It can feel a bit like a battle at times, but hopefully now some of those ways will make you feel more like you have an arsenal of ways to help you to improve and enjoy the process. What is Arsenal? Maybe you know it as a football club in England, quite a famous and big soccer or football club. But the actual meaning of the word is kind of like having a lot of weapons, so like a stronghold or an army might have an arsenal of weapons. So try to think of using all of these different ways as having your own personal arsenal, so that you're ready for the battle of learning English. The second word we've highlighted here, process. So yeah, once again, going back to what we were talking about in the last slide, it is a process. You can't become a master of English overnight. It's going to take a few years. Sometimes more for others, sometimes less. But try to enjoy the process. If you can do that, if you can feel like you're enjoying it, feeling like you have passion to learn English, that's going to help you a lot, because it's very hard to become great at something if you don't have some kind of passion towards it, right? So yeah, make sure that you're enjoying it, and try to use these different ways that we've talked about. Try to watch a TV show, listen to the podcast on the way to work. Don't try and make an extra 4 hours a day for English. Just try and fit it in and around your schedule. And yeah, that's pretty much everything, I think, for today. There are other ways to improve your English, of course, but these are just a few ones that I wanted to highlight specifically for the students on ZEnglish. So thank you for watching. I hope these ideas helped, and I hope you have a fun time as you continue to learn English. Thank you. Goodbye.